Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Hello everyone, it's the Ancient One here, the Bachelor Supreme, and I'm back again with another video. And today's video is entitled, or will be entitled rather, Passport Bros versus the Vasectomites. As you can tell already, my side is with the Vasectomites because I believe that they're going to win and win every possible outcome in this social interaction or this romance war called relationships and these social dynamics. So what are the Passport Bros? Effectively, from my understanding, the Passport Bros was a new group of young and I'd say middle-aged men, say above 25, all the way into their 30s and even further on. And these were men that originated in the United States, were disgruntled with the state of affairs of dating and relationships, and decided for some reason that it was a good idea to travel to other countries in order to find a wife. If you can imagine that type of madness and absurdity. I mean, you know I am the Bachelor Supreme, the Ancient One, he who remains after all it's said and done. And for me, the idea that you would even start looking for a wife, knowing the misery that is marriage, knowing what the institution of marriage is, an assets combining contract, that you would leave your own home country to travel to another country where you don't speak the language, don't understand the culture, cannot understand the economy. You don't even know what the currency is. You just know that you bought a Pepsi in America and it was expensive, so you bought one in another country and they charged you less. And for this reason, you have now decided to marry a woman from that country, a complete and utter stranger to you. Now, just think about the level of insanity that would possess someone to even conjure up these type of delusions. But this was the movement called the Passport Bros. And if you ask me, it has failed. It has failed dismally. But it does persist for various reasons. Now, where the Passport Bros came from is really a situation where men of European descent and even some of African and even South American descent would travel for tourism and personal growth to these other countries and vacation and such. And upon arriving to these countries, they may have found love, romance, intimacy, and whatnot, and decided that they would visit again and again to that very same country for whatever their reasons. And some even went as far as to get married and have children with women from these countries. Now, my understanding is that the philosophy behind the Passport Bros was somewhat different from the original movement. In the original movement, men moved for other reasons, like I mentioned tourism, but also work was another reason, right? That they would be working in these countries, living there year after year after year, and eventually they would meet someone and begin a relationship. But the passport bros seem to be doing whatever they're doing, or forwarding their movement, because of a lack of interest from women in their own home country, a lack of sexual intimacy, and quite frankly, unreasonable demands on their finances, on their selves, on their stress, on their mentality. So they left their country to go find a woman, expecting somehow to find a different set of circumstances for them in another country, than what they had in their country. Now, to be fair, being different, being foreign has its appeal to many people around the world. So if you see something that's different to what you know, it might spark an interest. But this is not an indication that you are going to have a lifelong, committed, sustainable, loyal, fruitful relationship with these people. There's no evidence to suggest this at all. And the idea that these men think they can just move to these countries with no knowledge of this country and become successful with women in these countries, and build real lasting relationships to the point where you can even get married and find a wife. Madness, right? You are about to share your assets. That's what marriage is. You are signing into an assets combining contract between the countries of practically two governments. You had just one government to deal with. Now you have two governments to deal with. Right? So you've signed a completely unreasonable contract, and now you've signed it into two countries. Now you've got twice as many problems. Not to mention what happens when you have children with this woman. I'm assuming that everybody loves their children, but I would understand if you don't. But let's just say the inevitable thing is going to happen. You are going there to these countries to seek sexual intimacy. And ultimately, the same thing that would have happened in your home country is going to happen there. You're going to get someone pregnant. Part of the reason why the women in your countries would not engage with you in that way is because you cannot sustain a child and family. They can sense that, they know that. Everybody knows that except you. You should be following the path of the bachelor. You should be taking $1,550 and getting yourself a vasectomy, rather than taking $3,000 and flying yourself to another country where you're just going to end up in trouble, or even worse, on child support and alimony. But let's assume that this happens, right? Let's assume that you somehow pull this off. You go over there, you meet this woman, she treats you great, she treats you great. In other words, the actions towards you are great. But because you don't speak to her language, and you don't understand her culture, she could be saying whatever she wants about you to her family. And they could be planning anything that you have no idea about. You'd be standing there smiling, grinning ear to ear, while people are literally planning your demise right in front of you, and you would have no way of knowing or even understanding that. It is stupidity at its highest level. It is one thing for you to have your fun during travel and tourism and such not. It's a completely absurd idea that you would now want to get committed into a relationship and marriage. I cannot understand for the life of me what it is that makes men want to sign this marriage contract. I mean, just hearing what it is, finding out the details, just the definition alone is just enough for me to say no. I'm not sharing my house. I'm not giving up my car, my retirement, my investments, my hard work to a complete stranger. But yet, men do. Men do. They would go as far as to go to the other side of the world to seek the same level of problems that you just ran away from here in your own home country. The difference is now the problems are in a language that you don't speak. Just think about that. But no, off they go. Off they go looking for this problem. And now you are married into a situation that is completely outside of your comfort zone. Not just comfort zone, your capacity to deal with. You don't know the laws. You don't know the people making the laws. You don't know their objectives, their goals, their aims, what outcomes they're trying to get. But you've just jumped yourself right into that. That's insane, man. You shouldn't be doing that. This is why Passport Bros failed. This is why Passport Bros failed, because you don't even have a vasectomy. You haven't even protected your seed, and you're going out there looking for the impossible. Now, looking at the same situation with a vasectomite, the outcome is always going to be completely different. You're going there completely protected, completely safe. You have all the time in the world to do your vetting, find out who these people are, find out what they're about, decide if you want to stay or not. Chances are, if you already had a vasectomy, that means you're not staying, right? But if you're going in there as a knee bender, if you were a knee bender in your home country, you are going to be a knee bender in a foreign country too. This is an absolute guarantee, right? You might be able to play the part of the person who you believe you are or believe you can be, but in the end, you always go back to your default status. And if you're looking for romance, you're looking to fund the life and the existence of another person or other people, you're going to find exactly that. And they are going to run through your pockets and run you into the ground. This is what's always going to happen with Passport Bros. The truth is that they won't tell you all of their failures. They will be boasting about their success when they eventually find a woman that'll have them. But they won't tell you what their failures are. Nobody does in the game of dating. It's all about how successful relationships are, how great they're going. But most of them end up breaking up anyway, or they end up in failure, which is an indication that either these people are in delusion or they're lying, or they just don't know what's coming up ahead. But all your relationships fail. And going overseas to a language, to a country where you don't speak the language, where you don't know the laws, where you don't understand the culture, and think that you're going to pull this off is just outrageous. You might be able to do it on a short-term basis, but you're not going to do it for decade after decade after decade. The chances that you are going to mess this up are just as high as they would be in your own home country, traveling around, walking around, working, living without a vasectomy. Eventually, you're going to get someone wrong. And this is what's going to happen if you go overseas. You keep going there, you keep going there, eventually you're going to get someone pregnant. And once you do, you're going to have to change every single thing that you do. You're going to have to change the way you live, the way you eat, the way you travel, where you travel, and how you travel. Your first trip was there by choice, but every other trip after you get that woman pregnant is going to be out of force. She is going to control everything you do from the moment she's pregnant. Up until then, you might be able to get to play a good game. You might be able to even take advantage of certain things that aren't available for you in your own home country. But this is always leading to the same place. If you are intimate with a woman, you're going to get her pregnant. You are going to get her pregnant. And many of these passport bros eventually do. The difference is that passport bros have the option of running away back to your home country. But eventually, eventually it becomes a situation of you really have to take care of your kids, right? So you're going to try and make it work with this woman. You're going to bring her to your home country, which is a bad idea because now all the laws are on her side, and she's going to put you in child support. And once she puts you in child support, she's back to her own country. Now she's got dollars coming in every month, and if you don't pay them, you go to jail, right? Because you don't pay directly to her, you pay through the system, and the system will pay her. If you don't pay the system, you go to jail, right? And so now she's in her own country, living the way she wants to live, and you got to keep funding this thing. And I know you think this isn't how it's going to happen. That's exactly how it's going to happen. If you cannot sustain a relationship with that woman, which you cannot, right? At some point, if she's going to leave, she's not going to stay in a country where she doesn't speak the language, doesn't understand the culture, and it's too expensive for her anyway. Better for her to take those dollars back to where she knows, and she can live like a queen for the rest of her life, or at least for 18 years, right? And she can always go back for an extension or an increase or whatever she wants, right? The outcome that passport bros are looking for does not lie in travel. It lies in the vasectomy and in protecting yourself. That's why every video is about a vasectomy. And trying to think about how to structure this channel moving forward, I've just decided that for the short while, I will look at all of these different philosophies and compare them with the vasectomites. MGTOW was the first one, and we know that MGTOW, men going their own way, they didn't go there, they didn't go anywhere. And it's going to be true for the passport bros. It's always a good ride until somebody gets pregnant, and somebody always gets pregnant. And once it becomes a situation that passport bros are leaving pregnant women and children all over the world, the movement is bound to become unpopular, right? You're bound to become, there's so much of a danger that governments will go out of their way to prevent this from happening. Because your tourism money that comes in, which is really why this situation is thriving, right? Although you might not have a great chance of getting a woman pregnant, I mean, you have just as much as anyone else, So you're not having as many opportunities to try, but one is enough if you ask me. But in the absence of all those many opportunities to try and get a woman pregnant, what they are doing is they are taking your tourism dollars, which is fine. You're there on vacation anyway, right? But the more you keep coming back, the more of that money they take. The airlines take it, customs will take it, visa costs will take it. The hotel will take it. The taxi drivers to the hotel will take it. The restaurants will take it. The bars, the nightclubs, the tour guides, they'll all take your money, right? And I mean, why wouldn't they? You're offering it up, as well as your newfound romance. She'll take your money too, right? And she'll use that money to feed the kids that you don't know about, that she's already had. She's not going to tell you about them. And she'll use that money to use her family, to feed her family, right? Because if she's hiding a child, which she is, women in foreign countries have children at young ages. So if she is 25 and over, she probably has a kid. She probably has a kid that you don't know about. And that's not her brother, bro. That's not her brother, my friend. That's her kid. And you won't find this out until it's too late. And once you marry her, you take full responsibility of not just her, but also her kids, right? So you bros, you passport bros, are taking a huge risk that you don't even know about, right? And you won't know about. You're always taking a risk. Every time you interact with a woman that you don't know in a way that you don't understand, it's a risk. And the risk isn't being robbed or being hurt. The risk is getting her pregnant, especially if she is from an impoverished country, what they call third world countries or developing countries, countries that are economically falling behind and education levels are low and people are struggling, this doesn't mean that they don't understand economics or lack the strategic intelligence to subdue you, because they know what you want. They know what you want. Think of it like this, right? They are there waiting for you. They have the same phone. We all we all use the same internet. We all get on the same social media, and eventually we're all gonna watch the same content. Maybe not with the same level of consistency, but we're gonna at some point see your point of view and hear your opinions. And if your opinions are to leave your country and take your money and go over there, they're going to be waiting for you. But the Passport Bro movement is so new, and it comes on the heels of another travel movement, which was in truth unnamed because of its efficacy and secrecy. If you knew, you knew, right? And the Passport Bros named this thing and made it and gave it a form and a structure that people could readily identify. There were patterns of behavior and a philosophy and reasons behind those patterns. So when you get there to these countries, right, the women are already there waiting to receive you. When you arrive at these restaurants, the food is already there waiting for you to eat it. They've already cooked it. They know you're coming. The hotels have made the beds and filled them with the same Western amenities that you are used to. Internet, television, hot water, whatever it is, they have it, right? Waiting for you. They have somebody in a country where maybe the English speaking fluency is maybe like 2%, 3% of the country speaks English, right? This includes all the politicians and the presidents and businessmen and leaders, right? You come in there and they have somebody waiting in the lobby who speaks your language the way you can understand it. And they use your terms for currency like dollars and pounds and euros. They're waiting for you, brother. They're waiting for you. They know you're coming. They know what you want. Not only are they ready to give it to you, they know what they're going to get from you in return. You are the one thinking you're starting something new. That when the first Passport Bro arrived, he found a fully laid out service waiting just to cater for him as long as he keeps paying, right? And fortunately enough, it's affordable, or it's affordable enough. But for how long? It's only affordable until you get somebody pregnant. Then the cost of child raising is equalized all over the world. $1.8 million from birth until university graduation. That's how much you're looking to spend. Now, they've made calculations of this and said it was something along the lines of 350,000 US dollars. This number is lowballed. That is nothing. That is the number you pay without house, without clothes, without education, without car. I mean, the house alone is $300,000. The house alone, right? You got to add the phones, the technology, the tablets, the video games, the PCs, the games alone, just paying for the games alone, right? Just paying constantly to these games and these websites, these apps. You're looking at $1 million minimum to raise a child anywhere in the world. Private school, hundreds of thousands. University fees, hundreds of thousands. And on and on and on, right? So whatever you think you're getting up front, you are going to pay for it after that child is born, right? And then her family, especially if you're in Asia. Remember, in Asia, you don't marry the girl, you marry her family. Cousins, uncles, nieces that are always pregnant. And you're going to be part and parcel of that. You know what I mean? You're going to be buying gifts. You know, your wife is going to be buying gifts that she can give away to somebody else who she's going to end up hating later on. Just think about that. She's going to take your money, spend it on something extraordinarily expensive to give to someone that she doesn't even like. And this is what you're going to be walking into, right? At the end of the day, if you're going traveling anywhere in the world without a vasectomy, you're going to find women that have the same parts that function in the same way as the women in your own home country. You are just avoiding child support in this country just so you can go pay child support in two countries. Because that's what's going to happen. Because the child is either of European or American, Australian, Western descent, and Eastern descent. They have legal rights in both countries. And you cannot deny them. As soon as they get that American passport and as soon as they get that Asian passport, they now have dual citizenship, and it happens in an instant. They can apply for it online and get it legitimately, right? And if you can prove that this child is of this country, they can go straight to your embassy and fill out that paperwork and get it sorted out. And it'll cost nothing because you'll pay for it, right? Because you're going to want your children to have the same rights, liberties, privileges that you are awarded in your own home country, but you don't want them to lose their other heritage. So you're going to double up and you're going to be paying twice the child support for twice as long. Because once they see that money coming in into Asia every day, they're not going to stop. What incentive do they have to stop from keeping money coming in? Because she's going to spend it all there, and she's going to spend it all. She's going to spend it all there, right? So the passport bro movement in itself, I believe, was always destined to fail because these men are traveling out there with no vasectomies, no protection, and they're bringing bags full of money into a country that's waiting for you, just prepared, and you are coming there completely unprepared. You don't speak the language, you don't know the culture, you don't know the prices of things. You just assume it's going to be cheap, but it adds up, and it adds up quickly. You know, it's not uncommon to see a foreigner burn through their cash and then pull out that credit card and then start swiping. And then you get home and you see the damage. And the damage isn't just in what you paid, it's that switching fee, right? Because now they gotta go from, euros and dollars to something else, and they charge you for that transaction. They're sending money from Paris to I don't know where, to Kuala Lumpur, right? And for them to send that money into that bank, into that system that is not of theirs, they need permission. And they got to pay for that permission. And they send all those charges straight back to you. When you see that statement, that credit card statement, your head is going to flip. Your head is going to flip. Just the flight, the hotel, all of that, the cost of it is so much more than a vasectomy. And the recovery time from the money that you spent is going to be so much longer than the mere 2 weeks that you need for a vasectomy. So if you're going to be a passport bro, if you're going to be a traveling bachelor, which I am very much a traveling bachelor for many reasons, for personal growth, for interest, for curiosity, for history. I travel very much to visit places where bachelors have made a tremendous impact, to go walk their footsteps, follow their steps, as they say, to be in the shadows of great bachelors. It brings me great joy. And if it just so happens that I meet somebody there and spark a conversation and make a connection, that's a bonus. That's an absolute bonus, but it's not a necessity. What is a necessity is for you to get that vasectomy before you get that passport. then you can be as free as you would be anywhere in the world. But if you go to these countries thinking that you're not going to find similar type of problems, I assure you, you are wrong, because they know you're coming and they're waiting for you. But what they're not prepared for is for you to have a vasectomy, because that's going to throw everything out the water. This is the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Get a vasectomy. Get a vasectomy before you get somebody pregnant. And have a nice day.